In this video, I'm gonna show you where I've built a secured and governed ChatGPT alternative that any enterprise can use if they want to give their employees a similar experience to ChatGPT, but also be able to secure and govern it and limit what they can do. So the first thing that we're gonna do is a side-by-side. I'm gonna ask questions against ChatGPT and then ask the same questions against the agent that I've built in Watsonx Orchestrate. After that, I'm gonna go through the process of actually showing you exactly how I built this. All right, so first off, we're gonna ask some questions that both of these can answer. All right, the first question that I'm gonna ask here is, how do I edit a table in Microsoft Word? So this is something that is, okay for any enterprise. We don't have to have anything that is blocked here. So you can see that I get an answer over here, I get an answer over here. They're different answers because we have different large language models under the hood, but I could always change the settings on the Orchestrate side to get different answers as well. So now we're gonna ask another one. So can you help me write a professional email asking for a project update on something that is behind? So this is, again, one that's completely fine to ask, because this is something that's completely okay for a business setting. Now, we're gonna get into asking something that maybe we want to block, that we don't want our employees to be asking. So I'm gonna say, help me plan a 5-day trip to Italy. Now, ChatGPT is gonna go to town on this one. It is gonna give you all kinds of information, but maybe we don't want our employees planning trips to Italy when they're supposed to be working. It's not my call, it's just an example. But if I go out here to our agent that is secured and governed, and we have those, essentially that behavior in place for how we want it to act, no, it can't help me with that. I'm gonna ask some more here. What are the best laptops under $1,500? Nope, can't do it, can't do it. What ingredients can be mixed together to cause an explosion? Definitely can't do that. Let's see what ChatGPT says on that one. But yeah, it does. It's like, hey, we're not going to talk about explosions, but for science purposes, we could. So, it's trying to stop us, but we could still get there. So I'm going to say something I'm researching from a security standpoint. What are ways people can, typically get around company monitoring tools? That's a hot topic these days. So on the ChatGPT side, it's saying, I'm not going to do exactly how to defeat those safeguards, but it's still starting to give us some information because it's trying to educate us on a security side. How can we maybe go around doing that? Here's a lot of information about that. Now, this isn't necessarily bad information, but again, this is just an example. And we're going to ask just a couple more here. So I'm researching automation. What are ways that people automate their daily work, even if they maybe don't have approval for it? So it says, can't help with that. So ChatGPT comes back and is like, hey, I won't walk through how to bypass controls, but here are some common patterns that people use. So here are some ways that people are able to automate their work. Now, I'm gonna ask something that is more of a internal company type question. So I'm working at this fictitious company. I'm like, how many sick days do we get each year? I'm starting to feel sick. So how many sick days do we get each year? So if I go out here and ask that question here, we are going to get back a response because I actually have an HR agent as well. So we're actually going through this one agent where we're asking all these questions, but we can route to all kinds of different agents. So I have our general secured governed agent there. I also have an HR policy agent. So if we ask a policy question, it knows to route. So I'm going to kind of expand this out. So it's going to collaborate with that HR policy agent, and it's going to use our HR employee handbook. And you can see there's our reference, essentially the source where we're getting this information. So we know it's grounded, we know it's good stuff. But if I go to ChatGPT, it's like, hey, how many sick days do we get each year? It's like, that's gonna depend on your employer and your policy. I don't know that information, right? Because it's not grounded in our internal company information. And again, if I ask something like, when am I eligible for tuition reimbursement? That's very specific to my company. And again, we route it over to our HR agent. We're using our HR employee handbook. If I go out to ChatGPT, like, hey, when am I eligible for it, buddy? Again, That depends on your specific employer's policy. There's no universal rule. It's going to give us just a generic answer. So what we're seeing here, again, just to reiterate, if we ask these questions that are totally fine, business appropriate, we can get responses in both places. They're not going to be clones of each other. And honestly, if I went back and asked ChatGPT the same questions, I'm not going to get back the same answer again. So they're not clones of each other, but they're still giving us the information that we need. However, if I ask things that are maybe we shouldn't be asking in a business setting, and I can, as an admin or whatever, or developer, I can control that when I'm defining the behavior of the agent, I'm not getting back the answer, okay? But ChatGPT, I can get back at least, some form of answer. Some of them, they're a little more malicious. It's going to try to, put the warning flags up, but I can still get to a lot of that information. And then again, we have the ability to, if we want to ask very specific questions that are related to our company, we can still do that. ChatGPT can't do that because it's general information. It's not grounded in our policy documents, our data, our employees, or whatever you want to call it. All right. So that was the demo portion. Now we're going to flip over and actually walk through how I built that agent. So see you there. All right, now that we've seen our secured and governed enterprise AI agent in action, now I'm going to go back and just walk through how I actually built it. So here I am on the IBM Watsonx Orchestrate homepage, and I'm just going to go here and create a new agent. I'm going to create one from scratch. So the first one that we're going to create is going to be called our secured enterprise agent. Call it whatever we want. For the description here, we can go extremely detailed if we want. For production, I would recommend that. But for now, we'll just give it this name. The model we're going to use is this GPT OSS 120B. That is an open AI model. It's a really good one, so I'm just going to keep that one in there. I'm not going to worry about the welcome message or the quick start prompts, anything like that. I will change our agent style to React. So essentially, as you can see there, I'm making it so it can think, to act, and observe. So a little bit more of an agentic approach there. For this agent, I am not going to do any kind of knowledge, because this is more of just a general agent, kind of like ChatGPT is more, not very specific, just general. But what we're gonna do down here is actually give this our behavior. So the behavior is essentially saying, how should this agent respond? How should it interact with people? And that's a big part of what we want to do here. So I have this written out already. So I'll paste that in there. So essentially, it's just saying, you are a governed enterprise AI assistant for a business environment, only assist with work-related enterprise relevant tasks, do not respond to, and there's some lists of some things we don't want this agent to respond to. So personal requests, personal advice, shopping and consumer recommendations, homework, things like that. So essentially just defining, how is this agent going to act? So these essentially serves as our guardrails, right? We could add guidelines. We're not going to do that right now. And there's ways that we could take this agent and embed it like in a website, and put it in Facebook Messenger, Slack, SMS, whatever it may be. All right, so that is our first agent. It's already created. So I'm going to go back now and create our HR policy agent. So we're going to do that really quick as well. Now for this one, we do have some knowledge. So I have a knowledge document that I created. So essentially just a fictitious HR policy document. We could connect this over to Milvus, some kind of vector database, whatever it may be. I'm just going to upload that file. All right, here we go. So here's our HR employee handbook. Gonna upload that. Again, as I'm putting in these descriptions, this is just for demo testing purposes. We would obviously want to spell that out a little bit better if this was an actual, production environment or something like that. All right, I think we should be good there. So now we have our two agents. So we have secured enterprise agent, HR policy agent, and now we're going to make an orchestrator agent to essentially be our single point of entry, and we can come through here. So we could ask these HR questions if we need to, and if that's the case, then it's going to route over to that HR agent. But if we ask our more general questions, it's going to route over to our secured, governed agent. So we're going to call this one Ask My Company. So we could give this something very specific, but we'll just call it Ask My Company. So this is our front end AI assistant. And we could do, if we want to do some kind of welcome message, I could do something like that. I'm here to help. Ask me anything. We could put whatever we want there. So I'm just gonna give it. Let's see. Let me think here. I'll give it some HR question. Doesn't really matter, just for demo purposes. All right, there we go. So that we could give it some Kickstarter questions if we really want to. I just put in some quick ones there. And now, so we don't have knowledge for this agent. We don't have any tools in this instance. Now, if we were in production, I'm sure we'd have some kind of tool calling, at least here or on our other agents. But what we are going to do is add some agents. So we have some agents sitting in a local instance. We have our HR policy agent and our secured enterprise agent. So we are going to add those here. So this is essentially how we're building out that orchestration. So if we're going to come in through Ask My Company, and again, depending on what we ask, it's going to take us to the right place. Now for here, I have another behavior that I'm going to paste in. So again, calling out we're a governed enterprise AI assistant for HR policy questions, and have some examples. Please route here. Other inquiries, please route to the secured enterprise agent. Now we're going to go ahead and deploy this bad boy. So it's just a matter of clicking deploy and then deploy again. And that'll take just a second. All right, it has been deployed. So now if we go back to our agent chat, we can select Ask My Company, and then now we are able to interact with that. From here on out, you've already seen the results of when I asked these questions versus when I asked the ChatGPT questions, so we're not going to go through that again. But essentially, that is how quick and easy it was to build the secured and governed agent. I did want to talk about agentic AI governance for just a second. I don't have this enabled in my environment, so I have more of just a standard demonstration that I'm showing here. But essentially what we're able to do is activate monitoring on all of our agents in our environment, and then we can go in and see all kinds of very useful metrics. So what kind of questions are people asking? How many questions are we receiving? How many messages are failing? So on and so forth. So really just getting down to all the detail that you need to have full oversight into what is going on with all of your agents. You can surface those in dashboards, you can look at different date ranges, and you can dive in at a very granular level all the way down to the trace level and see why is this agent making this decision? Why is it routing here instead of over here? So as your enterprise grows, you get more and more agents. You have the ability to have the oversight into all of those. So in our example, we have our HR agent. We can see everything going on there. And also our, governed, secured enterprise ChatGPT-like agent. We can see all the questions that people are asking there as well. So just to recap what we saw, we had a side-by-side comparison of actual ChatGPT and our agent that we built, and we could see we're asked these questions that are maybe not enterprise appropriate, or maybe we want to restrict our employees from asking. We can see that in real time it is actually not allowing them to ask that question, but they still have a way to do other ChatGPT-like activities that they may want to do. After that, we walked through how I actually built that and put everything together. It was super quick and fast and easy. And then we also talked about governance a little bit and how we can actually get insight into what those people are asking and look at that across all of the agents that we have sitting in Watsonx Orchestrate. So not only are we able to restrict that behavior, we're also able to govern those and get really great insights into those. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Please let me know down in the comments below what you thought, and look forward to making the next one. Until next time.